Move into Cafe Dostoyevsky. It's Xavier's map choice. And it's Manic and Raven.
Thank you very much, Jordan. And, you know, it hasn't been too long since we've been on Cafe. Literally the last map that was played in the previous matchup. So I think we've seen it 3 times today.
This will be the 3rd time. Yeah, we saw it in the C9 versus... I've gone blank. C9 versus...
Yeah, I nearly went blank as well. Norarengo.
Norarengo, that was it. And Norarengo managed to take that. So, been a very strong Japanese map today. We saw CAG taking this map in the last series. So, see how that pans out. So far, the bans, very interesting. We just see a Buck banned out by Xavier Esports on their attack ban. So, that's not a common one, and neither is the Pulse. So this is a very interesting ban phase coming out of Xavier here. Really trying to throw Wildcard from the get-go.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, if we don't see any wall denial, I'll be a little bit surprised, especially without, you know, typically we've seen the Thatcher being banned, these matches that we've been able to watch, but Echo and Pulse being taken out on the defensive side, Buck and Capital. So, where do we lean with that? I mean, that's a very interesting ban phase, to say the very least.
It really is. I think the change of intel on the defense is going to be really difficult to deal with. Pulse is quite a good operator on Cafe. There's a lot of destructible floors, and especially outside of that top floor bomb site, you can actually utilize Pulse quite well. The reading dining bomb site specifically, you can get a lot of intel from below quite safely in that kitchen area, so not having the Pulse will restrict some intel. Likewise with the Echo, I dare say Wildcard banning out that Echo also kind of shades of the last season's quarterfinal. It was actually an Echo that clutched it out to take it to overtime, so maybe they just don't want to relive that.
Yeah, no, flashbacks. I mean, flashbacks to such a game like that, and I just... We have definitely been seeing Wildcard on the rise, you know, in Pro League and Six Masters even. You know, we've seen them put up some incredible performances. But this is where it all accumulates, right? Like, this is where we have to kind of bring it to an end, and this is where we need to see them step up. Probably the most important game they're going to be playing all season, bar the semi-final next, if they make it through. So, and the same said about Xavier, you know, it is a double-edged sword right now.
Especially with Wildcard, like a lot of the time when they perform, we talked about them being orgless and them not having the support as other teams, but yet they're still here. But now they have a lot of support in Wildcard. This organization has come in and looked after them from the get-go, and they've finally had it. They've had a boot camp. They've really had some solid prep coming into this land. It's like you said, it's at this point now, like, we've got to stop waiting for these answers, and they've got to start giving the answers.
Yes, 100%. I couldn't agree more on that one. But, you know, at the same time, just for all of you at home, obviously ANZ is close to our heart, so we'll try our hardest not to lean into the ANZ region as much. But the thing is, Xavier are just such a dangerous team. You know, we talk to most of the teams that are here, and most of the, you know, casters that we get our information from. Shout out to Land. Thank you very much for helping us out with the Xavier prep. But the fact of the matter is, not a lot of teams, not a lot of players, not a lot of casters really know how Xavier play, because it is just so sporadic.
Yeah, that basically is their playstyle. It's a little bit difficult to predict, and it's quite aggressive. Dare say they are probably some of the most likely to take gunfight kind of players that you'll see. And it depends whether that's exactly how they play here. They might try to start to play unpredictably not like that.
Yeah.
We will have to wait and see. And that's where it's really difficult to prepare. Wildcard, a strategically heavy team, and not being able to implement strategies before you come into a game because you don't want to over-prepare.
Yep.
That can really be quite difficult. So definitely going to be an interesting start. So far, almost half the round played out, and no engagements, no HP taken off, not a whole lot of progress made either. These roamers still playing comfortably on that 2nd floor, and Wildcard is definitely taking their time with this.
I must admit, it's surprising, considering Xavier are really the ones that are going to be able to set the pace on this attacking side, and so far, that pace is almost turtle speed. We've actually seen no kind of presence on that 3rd floor, 2nd floor. None of the walls are open from what I was looking at just then. So, you know, Xavier are leaving this pretty late, but again, this is the kind of team that you could actually pick to leave it late in the round before they make a decision, and when they make that decision, oh golly gosh, it'll be fast. But now starting to make a little bit more movement this attacking side.
And they're very aware of these roamers downstairs as well and their positions, and Hajime will find Neo. That is one of the roamers downstairs, and he had C4 to deny plant. So a great pick there, 45 seconds to go. That will help them to prepare for an execute. And they've got a lot of utility they can use now to get this execute done.
That's for them, sure. And now they're going to start to set up, no doubt. They've got plenty of time 35 seconds to make their way into the site. But again, every time that clock ticks down, it just makes things harder and harder. And here comes Diesel, the smoke. We talk about him being so instrumental. He's going to have to step up here as Emo Rin does fall down. This makes the job even harder. Near impossible. Write it off. Ethan in a 1 versus 5. The only chance he has right now is to deny that bomb. He's got no C4. That's pretty much the round done and dusted. He might find himself a kill, a consolation prize at the end of the day, but I'm not exactly sure whether I trust a 1 versus 4, and that is just not going to happen. Not on the cards, not today. And that is a very strong statement from Xavier.
Yeah, absolutely. They got so much intel. They were very, very patient with their attack, and it was executed with fantastic coordination. I don't know if anybody noticed as they repelled through those windows. That was in near synchronicity. And then they pinched on the Maestro that was playing a cocktail, and they just had full side control. It was, yeah, that was a fantastic attack coming out of Xavier, and Wildcard going to be licking their wounds, and they're going to have to figure out what they're going to do next.
Don't want to jump, you don't want to jump the gun, but if that's the kind of pace that Xavier are going to set, that is really concerning. Because we know them to be a team that love to take fights, to do things that are unconventional. Now that was a very well executed strat. They can change this pace up whenever they want. It's now, I would say the majority of this match is in their hands, depending on how they decide to play this.
I mean, I'm just looking at this operator lineup right now, and it's a very interesting operator lineup. And this is definitely something that I remember from last season's finals. Xavier had some very interesting operator lineups. We see a Blackbeard here, paired with the Gridlock, IQ Zephyr, and Thatcher. So no hard breaches. Definitely looking to take up straight up frags, basically. It's a very powerful lineup, and it makes me think they're looking to just brute force this.
Well, that's definitely a little bit dangerous, to say the very least, for both teams, right? You've got a methodical team in Wildcard, a team that we know to be well strategized in terms of how they play and how they decide to approach certain aspects of the game. And Xavier, who could turn on a dime and completely destroy you. So you don't want to leave anything out of the possibility right now, but so far so good for Xavier as they start back in toward that kitchen area. Very intrigued to see how Xavier approach these rounds. I mean, Ethan is the sole roamer, so it seems, up on that 3rd floor. Might have support sooner or later, but no, he's just going to go ahead and back away. No need to take any early engagements.
Yeah, a bit of a light room game here, but I think this just seems to be designed to just slow down Xavier a bit, find some drones, restrict some intel for that late game, and then just kind of drop back so they can hold man advantage. Wildcard also playing with the castle on this bomb site, so they can play a little safer downstairs, safer from a bit of a rush, which definitely helps because there's no hard breaches here. There's a little bit of soft breach to deal with the castles, but it'll be very obvious. And we're seeing a mass rotate here from Wildcard. 2 of them just came down the red stairs. In fact, it was actually 3. Playing a very aggressive position here. Very interesting how they've stacked this. There's also the Jaeger and the Kaid that were stacked up in the bakery door, and it almost looks like they're ready just to pounce. It's almost like they're ready to try and counter any kind of aggression that Xavier just kind of turn up with.
Well, to be honest, at this point, you pretty much have to expect the unexpected. So to be prepared for anything is what Wildcard are going to need to be. At the moment, there are currently no roams going on whatsoever for Wildcard. Playing off-site for the majority, I believe, from some of these players, but very strong setup just to begin with.
Yeah, and we're seeing a very similar attack to the last round. It's very slow, methodical. They're getting a lot of intel, but they haven't really made any engagements. There's been nothing particularly damning. There's not even really much of the floor opened, and there's only less than a minute to go. So Xavier really going to have to get their skates on and really start to do something with sight.
Tell you what, I'll start to ask questions if this round doesn't work out, but judging on the last, I'm not about to go ahead and make any sort of comments. Not just yet. Oh, that's so unlucky.
Well,
that is a horrible use of a sting trap.
That is unfortunate, but no one's going to step on that white floor at least. 30 seconds to go. Looks like Xavier really starting to figure exactly what they're going to do here, but there's 2 players stacked. They're going to be able to refrag out this red stairs position straight away. Really wondering where the main push of this execute is. Neo will find that pick. Derpy finds another one. So now 3v5, less than 15 seconds to go. Lycolis finds one as the Blackbeard. 10 seconds remaining. Xavier's going to have to do more than this to secure this round here. They're trying to pinch this Legion. They do find that, but no time here.
Hang on a second. What?
That was close.
That was a little bit too close. I mean, I'm not sure whether... I think my eyes deceived me for a second there, but I thought that was a 1v2 in favor of Xavier, but I don't know. I believe that was a 2v1 for Wildcard.
I think it was in favor of Xavier. And you know what? They just really... They pushed them aside to try to get those frags at the end, but so much of the lead up to that was very, very, very cautious, very careful. They just made sure everybody was on that bottom floor.
Yep.
And then they just timed their push, and they did almost have that round. I think it came down to, it must have been Diesel in Freezer, I think.
Hiding.
Just hiding, yeah, because the time had run out. If they'd just given themselves an extra 10 seconds, that round would have been theirs.
I mean, we talk about that a lot, right? Is, you know, how much time do you leave yourself? How much time do you need at the end of the round? And look, when you can still be planning the defuse after, you know, the time is on 0, sure, that can be a great useful method because then it puts the pressure back on the defensive side. But the problem is, if you fall on, you know, if you just get dismantled on your way in, it just doesn't work. You've got no time to play with. You've got no extra way in. You've got no extra strats to be throwing. It's kind of like throwing pickles at a wall and just hoping one of them sticks. So... It's you know...
They're really not giving themselves like a backup plan.
Right,
like, it's basically, all right, guys, this is what we have to do. We now have 20 seconds to go.
10 seconds left.
Go hard or go home, right?
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see if they stick with it. They've stuck with the operator lineup from that last round, and we are seeing Wildcard go back to this top floor bomb site, which was their first pick, which they did lose in fantastic fashion. So be interesting to see the adaptations that Wildcard have made to what Xavier did last time.
I believe, if I'm not correct, they swarmed in from the east side, correct? Coming through the windows? Is that what we saw?
I think the real brunt of their push came from that side, and it was well coordinated because it wasn't even just that. Like, there was a guy that came up the white stairs. We had 2 people come through Cigar as well, so it was a really well coordinated entire, like, pinch of the site. So, but yeah, I think the real linchpin of it was the people that came in through those cocktail windows.
So we'll see whether Xavier are going to be taking this slow and methodical approach to round number 3 as well. Like we said, it's very hard to tell what they're going to be doing. For the majority of the part, we would say that they'd be pretty aggressive, happy to take fights, but it literally hasn't been like that at all. Xavier have been very slow in their approach, ensuring that almost every roam possibility is clear before they've, well, especially in the last round anyway.
Attackers have located a
Might
bomb.
not be the same moving forward, but wait and see how they're actually approaching this round. It looks like white stairs will be a little bit of a method for a producer.
It's very much the same again. They're very much taking their time to drone out, get a lot of the intel for these roamers. Their droning is quite good. They're getting this intel on these roamers, and often they're not finding all of the drones that are onto them. And Lycolis does find Neo Fighter. This is exactly how this round panned out last time. Neo was the first to fall as the Valkyrie in that pillar section. So again, Xavier just being super methodical and careful, and just making sure that they know exactly what's ahead of them before they do it. So in a way, that does set up for what they do to kind of be successful, right? Because they should, in theory, be understanding everything that's about to happen. They've got intel on all of the positions. It just doesn't leave much margin for error.
No, of course not. The droning has been incredible, though, from Xavier. That was one of the big points for Neo going down there, with Lycolis being able to take that free shot. So we'll wait and see again. Looking like a very similar kind of approach here, Raven.
Very much so. Yeah, it looks like they are going to enter through these cocktail windows again. You see healthcare has already dropped into that cigar section. And Derpy is playing cocktail, same as last time. We've got somebody on blue tarps there at the top of the white stairs. 40 seconds to go now. Xavier still have 5. Wildcard with 4. Emo a bit tagged up, so they're going to have to weather a storm because I believe it's about to come, it looks like. This execute's happening. Hajime swings in. The Maestro is pinched in cocktail, so it's all about Derpy being able to hold that position. If he loses that position, which he just did, Lycolis has taken him out. Hajime finds Emo in 5v2. It's falling in very similar fashion to that first round, and it is a flawless round in the end by Xavier.
Jeez, that is almost identical from what happened in the first round. This is not looking too good to start out for Wildcard. I mean, Xavier with a very nice call, very nice read to make that work, but at the end of the day, Wildcard are going to have to be careful on that top side. I mean, generally we talk about Cocktail being such a successful defensive site, and so far 0 for 2.
Yeah, it's traditionally the first pick for most teams. It's usually like the most defensible bomb site. So yeah, Wildcard having issues defending it against the way that Xavier are playing at the moment. We talked about their unpredictability. We talked about their usual aggression, and that's what people prepare for. But this is very different. This is a very methodical Xavier that we're seeing, and that's quite scary, I have to say. The fact that they also have their old aggressive playstyle they can fall back on.
Yep.
They can definitely change gears whenever they want, and we're seeing like Colas here playing a Finker. Not played very often at all, especially in ANZ. We definitely don't see much Finker at all.
Yeah. Some interesting takes on an attacking side. Blackbeard for the previous two, I believe, as well. And I feel like I haven't seen a lot of Black.
No, definitely. Blackbeard doesn't get much play either. So some interesting operator picks from Xavier, and how they're utilizing it seems to be working out. Like Colas has been able to find some frags on that Blackbeard. So potentially using Finker for some nades. An edgy way to use some nades. We'll find out. But Wildcard here just setting up a bit of a top floor roam. It's definitely how you need to defend this bomb site. You don't want to give your opponents the top floor, because all of a sudden they'll be able to very quickly squash you on site. So you want to waste their time, you want to hold this top floor, and you want to make sure that come execute time, the other team doesn't have a lot of control, and they haven't been able to get that control easily. Xavier haven't been attacking particularly fast, so on this bomb site, that could really work against them, because that top floor control is very critical. They could choose to push through the reading. Sometimes that's the quicker kind of push, but if they haven't got that top floor control, again, they'll just get collapsed on. So this will emphasize a little bit more that they need to actually get in a bit quicker, clear a bit quicker.
2-minute 20 mark. This is pretty much where we saw them in the previous, in the second round, where they were attacking Kitchen. Where they slowly start to get those stingers out on toward the red stairs, and from there they start to expand a little bit further with a little bit more aggression. But Neophyter starting to clear out as well. It's given a little bit of information, not a hell of a lot, but a little bit of information that their white stairs are more clear than what they might have originally been led to believe. Again, I must admit, I'm quite surprised by the slow and methodical style that Xavier are bringing here.
Yeah, again, half the round gone, basically. Not any engagement so far. And it seems to be working out for them, though, and we can't argue with success. It is working. So Wildcard have to be just ready for that final 30, 40 seconds. If Wildcard can have as much intel possible leading up to that, potentially that is the key difference. If they are a bit more prepared for what is happening, Neophyter will find Producer Bin. That is the Zofia out of the board. So a good start from Wildcard here. That will give them a man advantage coming into this final minute.
Looking for the long line. Scatman being the Scat. I feel like I've just got to sing that song every time I say his name. He is the Scatman. But waiting for the approach to come through. Kind of locked in a little bit of an awkward fight there. Will be traded out there. Emo Rin does fall. So in the meantime, look at how far he's been able to push into the side. He's going to go ahead and get aggressive here. He'll find the free kill toward Ethan as well. That is not what they're looking for. They do find the trade, though. That is it. Neophyter from White Stairs goes directly through, swings down, but will be caught out this time. IQ will now be allowed to push up a little bit further. There's only one member that remains. It's Diesel in a 1 versus 3 to salvage this round.
Yeah, and only 15 seconds to go now. He's going to push into this laundry position. He knows they're around White Stairs, but not exactly sure where. I think they're aware of his laundry position now. It's being held, and Xavier will get that round. Xavier, another strong attack.
These are very good signs coming out from the Xavier camp right now. The SEA boys are feeling very comfortable on Cafe, but this is what we needed to expect. I believe this is their map pick. Is it?
Wildcard map pick, I'm pretty sure.
I thought I saw that it was a Xavier pick. I'll have to confirm that, actually.
Notoriously,
if that's not a Xavier pick, I am
notoriously, both teams are quite good on Cafe. Wildcard definitely have had some good results on Cafe in ANZ. And Xavier have also had some good results on Cafe. So This is definitely a map that was going to be even between both teams. Matter of who's got more and who's coming out with it. And at the moment, I think the biggest surprise is that Xavier is doing this on attack.
Yeah.
We talked about Clubhouse being relatively defender-sided, and some of the bans can really make it that way. There are some pretty interesting bans, as we just talked about, but so far, like the way that Xavier have been playing these attacks, I think it's very difficult for Wildcard to deal with. I think they're not quite sure what to do. They look like they're a bit
Lost?
Yeah, almost like there's so much lack of action in the early round. I feel like they start to second-guess their positioning or what they're doing, or whether they should be playing more aggressive. We saw Neo constantly moving up and down those white stairs, unsure whether maybe he should run out or whether he was getting flanked. So I think that's kind of the result of how Xavier have played that.
So just to confirm, this is Xavier's map pick. Just to confirm that. So, I mean, we can lean into that, but you're pointing for me? Back into the Finker?
Back into the Finker. Look, he had a nice... Oh, it was Lycolis that played it last time, so it's actually Producer Boom that'll play it this time. Lycolis is going to play the Jackal, so again, Lycolis playing a different operator. But, I don't know, worked for his little rush to take site last time, so maybe they've got a different intention this time. Wildcard will go down to the kitchen bomb site. They did win this. This is the round they won. However, it was very tight, very close. It's just a matter of Xavier running out of time and couldn't find the hide-and-seek Diesel in the freezer. So, we'll see how Xavier have adapted differently and what Wildcard do to adapt differently. It's hard to say. I think the onus of adaptation really is on Wildcard at this stage.
Well, my concern is, I'm not concerned, Xavier, this is their map pick, but for Wildcard, a concern is going to be the fact that generally the defense is very much, it's favored around about 60% in both the ANZ and the SEA regions. So this is not what we were expecting to see, I think, out of the gates. I think maybe the other way around might have been a little bit more of a clearer image, but like you're saying, Xavier just... I think they're catching Wildcard off, just Wildcard off, period.
Yeah, it could again be the result of the way Wildcard have maybe prepared for Xavier, because we've talked a lot about their aggression and what was expected of them, and this is quite different. So maybe this is just really just causing Wildcard to really second guess like what they have expected to be doing.
Yep.
Regardless, almost a minute played, and we're seeing a very similar style again coming out of Xavier. Taking their time with these entries. We're seeing some Jackal scans come out though, so that means the Jackal is in a position to get these footsteps. They might try to start hunt these rumors a bit earlier because this was the bomb site they ran out of time. So they're just starting to put some pressure down in this VIP section. So some changes here from Xavier to try and win this bomb site now.
Of all teams, we thought it might have been Wildcard that were adapting more so, but Xavier are already on that top four this time, not wasting too much of the clock. We're now down to a minute 45. They've cleared out top. They're starting to get into that second floor as well. This is where things started to run a little bit thin. So there we go. Eye for an eye. It's going to be Ethan for Lycolis.
Yeah, Ethan with the Legion being taken out. He would have had a few goo mines down there. We'll miss out on some with him dying this early. So not too bad from Xavier there, only losing the Jackal. 4v4 with just under half the round to go. Producer Boom still with this Finker. Hasn't really utilized any of the Finker scans yet, so still waiting to see exactly how he plans to use this Finker. And again, Xavier really just reverting to heavy droning.
Yep.
3 people are on drones at the moment of the 4 people alive. Hajime is going to move around and start opening the floor to move people around on site, but it looks like Wildcard have actually started to divert themselves away from the site. We see a lot of them actually off the side or around the edges. So I think they're ready for this last minute push from Xavier, and potentially Xavier might not be 100% ready for their positioning.
Well, with 40 seconds left, they're going to have to get a move on, that's for sure. They haven't really been able to spot out anyone, and now with the Jackal down, I believe there were still 2 more scans to come through, so there's just, you know, a little bit of information that they now don't have, but they will be slowly clearing out in behind Cupcake Stall, but no one in behind. That's going to be a beautiful peek from Ethan. Rather emo Rin. However, Scatman very quick to trade out. Now it's going to get a little bit bloody and dirty on that bottom site.
Yeah, 15 seconds to go. They're going to push in for this execute. Scatman will push in and find Diesel, so that is the guy with the diffuser, and it is going down now. Dope is going to have to get a move on. Neo will find one on healthcare. Diffuser is pulled up. He's getting stunned, and he's going to get down by this Maestro. Derpy will finish it off, and Wildcard, some nice adaptation. They couldn't quite get to site cleanly, and they managed to take that round again.
Yeah, so that's the second time we've seen the unsuccessful site down in the kitchen. More so of Wildcard or more so of Xavier's playstyle right now?
I think that's really coming back to Xavier. I think that bomb site in particular really emphasizes better time management and better map control. I think when it's really coming down to it, it's a little bit easier to anchor on that bomb site. You can hold some nice long angles. There's a lot of cover. So I think that's really working in the favor of Wildcard. But this is the bomb site they need to really change some stuff on. Xavier have walked all over them both times they held Cocktail on this third floor. So Wildcard need to change something.
Well, if there is a moment, it has to be now, right? Third attempt at Cocktail. We need to see a successful attempt. The Wildcard, it's everything for Xavier. Well, I believe this is somewhat of a successful attacking side so far.
Yeah, this is the difference of whether Wildcard can end their defense half on Cafe at least 3-3, or whether Xavier will actually take the half 4-2, which is quite strong on an attack half for Cafe. So.
And that's the thing, there's not a lot of room to wiggle, is there? It's literally one round, and you could be 2 in the deficit. So a lot of emphasis does get put on these kind of rounds when it's looking at toward the end and it's 3-2. There is a lot more pressure on it. You definitely don't want to be going into the attacking side with only 2 before a draw.
Yeah. I think that's definitely not a position you want to be in when you're going onto your attack half of Cafe. Round is about to start. Wildcard, not too much different with their operator picks. Pretty much sticking to how they've set this up before. There's a couple adjustments here. I think this shield is new based on their previous strats. Neofire is playing that Valkyrie again in the pillars. This is very similar to how he played it last time. And he's been picked off here twice. He was the opening death for both of these rounds. So he's going to have to make some adaptations to how he plays this. And Ethan is also playing downstairs at the moment. Like Hollis, as a Blackbeard on a window, this is exactly how you should play a Blackbeard. It's an annoying position to try and fight a Blackbeard on. In fact, you probably would not want to try and fight him on that. So that's going to cut off a big rotation from White Stairs there, nice and early. So, again, I think they're going to be targeting this Cocktail.
Yep. And Ethan might be in a bit of trouble downstairs. I believe he was one of the first to go down in the third round, but was the first to go in the first round. So not having that much of an impact. I feel like both the players that we're used to seeing, you know, kind of really shine on through aren't really having the impact that we'd hope. That's both Ethan and Diesel. Diesel on the smoke hasn't really been able to, hasn't been able to get anything done. And they've pretty much nullified him every single time, but this is the moment that they can stand true. Xavier with a 2-for-2 record at attacking this bomb site. Wildcard just need to step with a little bit of caution this time.
Should be noted that Wildcard are definitely not a pushover on this map. They did beat Cloud9 at the Raleigh qualifier LAN here at ESL Studios last time. So they have taken some big opponents on this map before and prevailed. And I remember that being a very close map as well. I'm sure that was an overtime map. So Wildcard are definitely going to be in this for the long haul. They just have to make some adaptations to get this round. Producer Boom is making an entry into White Stairs here. We're seeing almost 2 minutes off the clock. Again, not much change from Xavier with their attacks. They've played this very methodically. They've used their drones. They're getting this intel. Like Hollis was cutting that white rotate early. Not sure. No, he's moved off that now. So we'll have to see how Xavier go with this execute. But again, it's really not looking that different at all from the previous rounds.
Oh, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We've said it multiple times before, and we'll say it again. For Xavier, it's worked an absolute treat. This time, Wildcard have changed things up a little bit more. They've got Neofighter and Ethan both on the underside in that second floor. I'm not entirely sure how much of the information they've got, but here we go. Here's the explosion. Emo Ring gets taken down in a nice little 1-2 combo. There's going to be healthcare to take down Diesel, and, well, Derpe cannot get a single thing done. Now it's both the lurkers, and by golly gosh, Xavier are reading this perfectly.
Another flawless round attacking this bomb site for Xavier. In fact, over 3 rounds of them attacking that, they only lost 1 player. Everybody else survived. So very, very strong from Xavier to attack what is the favorite bomb site for most teams. And we saw that out of Wildcard. They picked it 3 times. So that's the end of the first half. It's 4-2. And we will see Xavier go to defense now, and they're going to go for that third floor bomb site.
See whether they're going to have any more success or whether we can see Wildcard realistically crack the egg, make some omelets. But it has not looked so great for the ANZ team right now. Xavier in prime position, headed toward what we would generally assume as a defensive-sided map in pretty much most regions, especially in APAC. And it is their map pick, so this is a very good way to start this quarterfinal. Now, this is probably one of the closer quarterfinals that we were talking about before. Just alluding to the big donut on Diesel there. It's not something I'm used to seeing.
Look, he is a support player, and it's definitely not been easy for these support players on this in this map so far. In fact, we did see that round where Lycolis did just yeet into sight from the back, and he took them out from the inside out, you could say. So it's definitely not been an easy map, and Diesel just hasn't quite been able to get on the board. There are still a few rounds ahead, so we'll see how this pans out with Wildcard's attack phase. Xavier playing a very traditional lineup for this bomb site, pretty intel heavy here, and also with the mute jam is very interesting to try and deny some of this intel from Wildcard.
Camera in position. Initiate. Ready to go.
Xavier leaving it a little bit later most times, attacking this site. Dare say, oh, wow, that is not a good start at all. That's the sledge taken down as well, which it's not the worst for you, but it's definitely not the best.
Yeah, it's the old C4 up through the open hatch as you rappel up. Once you're in that rappel animation as you come onto the roof, you're stuck for a good couple of seconds. And I reckon they've had the Valk came up there and they've watched that and communicate that perfectly. So great teamwork there from Xavier Esports to secure that first kill. That will really put Wildcard back in a bit of a box. They would have been coming into this next half being like, all right, guys, let's go. And then there's the opening death, 15 seconds, sledge off the board.
I'm swapping mags.
Well, this is what we were saying about Xavier. You realistically, you can't predict what they're going to be able to do. The attacking side was probably one of the more interesting things I've seen from a team from Southeast Asia, rather from the APAC region, as we know them to be an aggressive and unorthodox style. Yet, pretty much every round we saw very calm, cool, collected plays.
Speaking of aggressive, there's Lycolis with a run out. He shoots that Claymore and he's detected right now, but he got the frag. So it's a 5v3. He's outside. It looks like he's going to get in quite safely here. Healthcare, great teamwork there. Into at least refrag if he gets shot. And Xavier completely unpunished for that run out. So now 5v3, around a minute to go. Wildcard not looking too great with his attack at the moment.
Not at all. Starting to realize that time is not only running away from them, but also the chances of taking this third floor site. Lycolis, who's been an absolute animal as well, will be able to peek into both players, and that is an easy double kill on for the ace right now. What a way to start the second half. I don't know whether he's going to get it. No, Derpe's still alive, so I'm still believing in this ace.
It's definitely possible. We're about to engage, and he does get the ace. Lycolis, what a round from him. Played perfectly, perfect level of aggression, and we've got to commend the teamwork from Xavier there.
Yes.
They communicated that C4 with a Valkyrie cam out the hatch. He came, the Jaeger came down to refrag Lycolis on re-entry of his jump out, and they're just coordinating everything very well at the moment. It was very apparent in their attacks, and it's apparent again with that defense. So fantastic defense there from Xavier. They'll move to the Reading Fireplace bomb site, and they're just carrying this momentum at the moment, Manic.
And one thing that, obviously, as we're getting through the game, I definitely need to be stating is the fact that we said that, their style is a little bit unconventional and very aggressive. But the thing is, we're not talking about just random peaks, right? We're not talking about a random 5 guys jumping into a server and just doing whatever they want. This is really calculated. And I think you've put it perfectly, you've summed it up perfectly in that round, is the teamwork that they showed from start to finish, including the run in and the run out, and then the safe traction back in. It's just the little things that really make the difference here. And Xavier are just leaps and bounds ahead of Wildcard on Cafe.
They are, and again, playing a relatively standard lineup. The Doc's a bit of an interesting pick from Lycolis. We've been seeing some very different operators out of him this entire map so far. But looks like they're going to opt to do quite a roam here. As we were saying when Wildcard were defending, it's really important to keep this top floor. So they are going to be playing at the top floor. Lycolis out there on 11 kills. He's been playing great so far.
Objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Definitely a dangerous scoreline for Wildcard to be looking at this point in time. there's still time to salvage this. It's not all done. It's not all bad news just yet. There's still 2 rounds in it before Wildcard are done and dusted and into the next map.
Good for strength and cardio.
This time we've got to see a little bit more of a methodical approach with a hint of safety, I think.
Speaking of, it looks like Healthcare's ready for a jump out here. Hajime will find Derpy. That's another early opening frag there for Xavier on defense. That's the Nomad taken off, so now flank watch is a little bit trickier for Wildcard, which was already difficult. Xavier being able to run around a bit on that first round, so now a little more free. We did hear a few air jabs get triggered in the first round of the defense of this half, but that's not going to happen anymore. Ethan contesting with somebody in windows there, but he's just going to get out of there safely before somebody jumps out. Xavier, they've got 2 here on bomb site, but they've got 3 upstairs. So they're definitely going to be holding this for their lives here. They don't want Wildcard to get this control early. And Imorin has taken Piano, so now we're going to start to see Wildcard start to push across and try and take a little bit more control. It's good to see. Half the round to go, though, so they're going to have to start getting a move on. They're going to have to try and find a pick up here.
There's Diesel live droning in, obviously, giving the opportunity for Imorin to maybe find the kill. Collis has been spotted out, so you can probably be sure that they're going to at least try to force the issue on that side of the map. It is on the 3rd floor. We are currently in reading and dining, so it's a fair trek to get in. And still with 2 players upstairs just being an absolute nuisance. We're down to a minute, but like you're saying, you know, the droning is pretty good coming through from Wildcard as well.
Yeah, drone game really strong here. They're starting to get a lot of this intel, this Evil Eyes being cleared, so very nice. Neofighter will get the frag onto Lycolis, so that's a strong player off the board. We're seeing Xavier back it up, though. They trade it out, and that's a 4v2 all of a sudden, 50 seconds to go. So much the onus on Wildcard to get a move on here, and it's just Diesel and Ethan left to do it. Ethan able to get some intel, but does he realize there's a player still here up in Cocktail? He's staying very patiently prone under that cabinet, and he's not going to know about it. He's going to find one, he's going to find the other. Yes, he will. Scatman finishes that round. Another strong defense from Xavier. They just have Wildcard's number on this map.
Did all of Wildcard's players die on the 3rd floor then? I feel like 4 of them definitely died on the top floor. So the roam game from Xavier shining through in this instance. Cafe is looking very convincing from the SEA team.
They're going to be going to Fireplace Mining as their 3rd bomb site, which is a little bit different. The Cav is picked and shown. Whether that's locked in will be interesting. They might be trying to play some mind games here with Wildcard, which you would say their playstyle's already been doing so. They're just keeping that guessing game going. Wildcard not going to be 6-picking anything, so they're happy with this lineup so far. The Jackal definitely worked out well. It helped them a little bit with that room clear, but in the end, it didn't really fall apart, but the intel was there.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Silex in the background taking notes. The coach of Wildcard will undoubtedly be having his word to say after this matchup. Sure, plenty to talk about, plenty to go over, plenty to fix and prepare for this next map. Or look, to be honest, maybe he's just going to say, look, let's throw this one out the window. It definitely was not the map we were looking for.
Could be. They definitely might not have expected Cafe, but regardless, here they are, 6-2. They've got to dig deep to get these 4 rounds, so at least push to overtime. Xavier definitely in the hot seat to take the map, and Producer Boom did stick that Cav, so definitely going to be interested to see how Producer Boom utilizes the Cav, whether he's going to try and hide and do a late game play, or whether he's just going to hassle early. One thing that's really plagued Wildcard with their attacks is they have had the opening death within the first 30 seconds, so they're going to want to not be losing players early. It's really coming back to bite them.
And not afraid to pre-prep any of the windows there for Xavier. They feel like having a cheeky dig in toward Wildcard. I'm sure they'll be doing with little to no fear. Producer's been able to hear that contact, but Derpe, he is waiting for Producer to make a move. I believe he's already opened that window. Like, Cole is taking down Neo. This is all going to the trash can for Wildcard. They might just have to consider walking away from this one.
I dare say the Jackal just saved the Nomad. I reckon Producer Boom was on the edge of jumping out then to get that Nomad, and the Nomad was completely unawares that somebody was up there. So that scan, preventing that jump out. Good timing. Xavier up, 5-4 though. A minute played. Diesel has found his way into the cigar room. He's pushing around and he's just trying to find somebody on that top floor. They're really aware of this room again. Lycola's playing it with an ACOG as Rook. Playing it very aggressively, rotating towards his opponents here. They're aware of his rotates, so now he's relatively stuck in his spot. So Wildcard should be able to pinch this out. They get some shots onto him, but they can't quite finish this off. Healthcare will come and help his teammate as Diesel off the board. Lycolas finds the head of Ethan. 5v2. It's all falling apart for Wildcard on this map here. Derpy finally finds one of the healthcare, but 4v2 here. Not a whole lot left for Wildcard to hold it. The Cav won't find a place. So 3v2.
Okay, this is all of a sudden salvageable. This, oh, well, I mean, Lycolas is the only player left. The 1 versus 2. Lycolas has been absolutely nuts this entire matchup, so you've still got to predict, you've still got to pick that this is going to be the way it goes. Player just on the other side right now. They'll be able to hear the footsteps, but that's about it. Diffuser is being stuck, but it's on the other side. Lycolas has a journey to go with. And I don't know whether he's actually going to be able to pull this out. However, I've said this in the previous match, and boy, how I had to eat my own words. So for now, it is seeming all but impossible. Wildcard not interested in peaking whatsoever. And it's not a crucial clutch by any means for Lycolas or Xavier. Their backs aren't up against the wall. They've got time to play with, rounds to play with. So they'll be pretty happy in just letting Lycolas go kill, find what you can. We'll be able to, oh my word, nice pre-aim coming around the corner, but that's just about all we're going to see.
Yeah, look, it was a bit surprising the round got to that stage that it did. The plant went down, so nice recovery from Wildcard there to turn it around from the 4v2. Nice from them. So they're 3 rounds deficit now, 3 rounds to get it to overtime. That looking a bit better from them. It was looking really grim at the start here. It was even the 5v2. So Wildcard really dug deep to save that round, save that match point. So now it's 6-3, they're still facing match point. And Xavier, they can go to a different bomb site, and they're going to go back to the 3rd floor.
The 3rd floor's seen so much success in previous attempts in both attacking and defensive. 3 for 3 on the attacking side, 1 from 1 on the defensive side. So, look, I'm no genius with maths or predictions, but I'm probably going to say that this is the best shoe-in for Xavier.
Yeah, they've got some changes to their lineup, but Producer's been going from that Cav to the Valkyrie. Definitely the Cav wasn't really a good pick for them in that last round. So they're going to have a very intel-heavy focus. Again, we said this last time, they held Cocktail. They're going to have the Valkyrie. They're going to have the Evil Eyes from the Maestro. Even the Mozzie, if the Mozzie catches some drones. So big intel game here from Xavier Esports.
10 seconds left. 5 seconds left.
Well, it's all going to hinge on this for Wildcard, and it's going to be like this for the next 3 rounds. If they want to be able to pull this back and possibly claw back the map, take Xavier's map pick away from them. I wonder how many times I can say map in one sentence. Saying a lot of intel, and that really favored Xavier on that attacking side, right? Saw it time and time again.
Yeah, and first 40 seconds has been really hairy for Wildcard on attack. They've basically lost somebody within the first 40 seconds every attack so far. This will be the first round. I believe that they're actually not going to lose somebody. That's going to help them so much. It's really a big deal when you lose the opening death on attack.
Yep.
It's a big impact, and losing any op rare out of this lineup, it's going to hurt you. Like, the nades on Sledge, IQ's intel gathering is like fantastic because they've got the Valkyrie. They've got the Mozzie, so you can't really afford to lose anybody. A minute here, they haven't lost anybody, so fantastic. Good stuff from Wildcard. They need to just be really thorough, and they need to make sure that Xavier don't run rings around them, because that is what Lycolas did on that first Cocktail round.
You gotta be careful, because you can't shake without bake, you know? Neo without Diesel is like Batman without Robin. Pretty uninteresting. So for now, Emo Rim will be slowly but surely making their way back into Cigar. Wildcard taking a fair bit of control across that side of the map early, but again, they find another way to make Wildcard pay. This is crazy.
Yeah, these runouts from like Colas punishing them on this bomb side, and he's managed to get back in, and again, unscathed, he's just walking around. That drone will catch two rotating back up the white stairs though, so Derpy is going to push in and start aggressing onto those positions. One's rotating back, he's at the end of the VIP. Derpy will see him and not hit any shots though. He's going to have to hold this angle and potentially decide whether he wants to run away or actually try and contest it. It is like Colas, he's going to drone out the position of this Nomad because he has a drone, and that is a fantastic use of Mozzie here, just assisting him to get out of this position. He's now sure that the Nomad isn't in that spot, so Lycolas could rotate out of here if he wants to.
So 2 1v1s possibly, and Scatman's been able to take down Diesel. Producer Boom has gotten away with, not murder, but gotten away with the information and a lot of the flank. Derpy with an aggressive peek on a Lycolas as he makes the vault across. 30 seconds left. They need to get to the top floor. They're currently down on the first floor. Raven, this doesn't look too good. However, saving grace, Neofighter pushing in. Already has control of the first right-hand side. There's the nade to dismantle that shield, so it makes the job of Maestro a little bit harder, but Maestro's going to go ahead and get aggressive. He's going to be able to line two up in his home site. Oh my word, Hajaim. Oh, Derpy, could he come through? No, he cannot. And Xavier will secure the first map in a very convincing fashion.
A little bit of a road bump there on round number 9, but for Xavier, they're able to topple Wildcard relatively cleanly. I mean, you sort of alluded to that yourself, Rob, right at the end there, but 7-3.